guidelines and programs of UN agencies was requested to be prepared with regard to the ways in which they address the specific needs of indigenous children. We request the funds to prepare such a report with an extension on how the UN agencies are implementing the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples with regard to indigenous youth and children. Second, we again urge the fund, as recommended by the Forum in paragraph 14 of its second session and reiterated in paragraph 63 of its fifth session, to appoint indigenous youth as goodwill ambassadors to raise public awareness. These indigenous youth should have the appropriate knowledge and experience as to the specific needs of indigenous youth and children. Third, the Forum has recognized in paragraph 9 of its second session the need for a new indicators that specifically target problems particularly faced by indigenous children and youth. We urge the fund, with the participation of indigenous youth and children, to develop such indicators and share them with other entities of the UN system. Fourth, we understand that issues relevant to indigenous youth and children are addressed in a cross-cutting manner in the fund. Accordingly, we strongly recommend the fund to appoint an indigenous rights specialist with indigenous origin to coordinate the fund's projects, policies, programs, and actions relevant to indigenous youth and children in order to have a comprehensive monitoring and overview mechanism. Fifth, we strongly recommend the fund to allocate at least one interim position to indigenous youth every year to empower indigenous youth and provide knowledge and experience on the UN system and the work of the fund. We also urge other UN agencies to set up such positions within their own relevant departments to empower indigenous youth with practical knowledge, experience, and skill. Sixth, we strongly urge the fund to ensure that when conducting reports, studies, and planning projects and programs on indigenous youth and children, the participation of indigenous children and youth in every process is guaranteed with their free, prior, and informed consent. Also, expert advice on indigenous social cultural background should be called upon. 7. The report E/C.19/2011/7 prepared by the fund talks mainly about the positive work of the fund in the developing countries. However, it should be noted that indigenous children and youth in so-called industrialized North still live in disadvantaged conditions, facing all the same problems as indigenous peoples of the South. Having this in mind, we urge the fund to pay attention to the indigenous children and youth in every region. 8. To build the capacity of indigenous youth advocates to effectively respond to current and emerging human rights challenges, we request the fund and other relevant UN agencies to cooperate closely with Global Indigenous Youth Caucus to conduct regional and international youth training programs. 9. We strongly recommend and request the fund to coordinate their activities and operations with the UN Program on Youth, the Secretariat of the Forum, and the Global Indigenous Caucus to ensure the participation of indigenous youth in the upcoming UN high-level meeting on youth. 10. While climate change and environmental degradation is imposing tremendous impact on indigenous youth and children, our voices are not reflected in UN decision-making process and policies. We therefore strongly recommend and request the fund to coordinate with other UN agencies and monitoring bodies working on environmental issues, including but not limited to UNEP, UNFCCC, and CBD, to mainstream indigenous children and youth's role in the system. Thank you, Madam Chair.